What's up YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network for week 2 of the top ranked decks in the Pokemon TCG Online Players Cup 3. This week we will be looking at all 4 regions of the leaderboard for a worldwide view of what decks are performing well. As always, there will be links in the description below for spreadsheets with all of the decks mentioned and more, so you can export these lists and put them into PTCGO. If you're looking for PTCGO codes, be sure to use code CELIO for 5% off over at potownstore.com, the best place to get PTCGO codes. If you have any questions about the Players Cup or the Players Cup 3 specifically, or you just want to see more deck lists, be sure to check out last week's episode of the top ranked decks. Starting out with North America, we've got Alex Schemanske moving up from rank 3 to rank 1, both worldwide and in North America, with 173 tournament rep, which is a new record for Players Cup tournament rep. And he's still using the same Centiskorch list. He's now completed all of his keys. And I also wanted to correct an error that I made last week, that Alex was using Heatran GX and not Reshizard. So Alex is currently number 1 worldwide, definitely clinching his invite for Players Cup 3, and honestly I'll be surprised if anybody takes the number 1 spot away from him. We've got B. Penno, who is new to the top 25 in North America, at rank 3 now with 146 tournament rep. And he's been piloting Luke Metal Zacian with an Aegislash-V tech in there for the Decidueye matchup, of course. Other than that, it's not too far off from other lists that we've seen. Blake has chosen to go with the tag calls over the Pokegears. We've seen tag calls, we've seen Pokegears, and we've seen Crushing Hammers kind of taking up those spots. And you'll also see that Blake is using the Coating Metal Energy to take weakness away from the metal attackers, so that it stands a little bit of a better chance versus fire decks. Next, we've got Ethan. You may know him as Hexter, the man, the myth, the legend behind the awesome Hexter tournaments. Ethan has gotten himself a current placement of 11th in North America, which is nothing to scoff at, with 126 tournament rep. And Ethan has been piloting Decigoons, the list you see here on the screen. Nothing too special, and honestly, most of these lists are not going to have things very unique about them, because I think this format has been played so much, and a lot of these lists are so refined that the couple differences you will see here and there are nothing too major. Next, we've got Mike Fouchet, a very reputable player at rank 12 in North America with 124 tournament rep, and he's piloted Pikarom and Luke Metal Zacian, but he said since there's been so many Pikarom lists and they're also similar to each other, he would just submit the Luke Metal Zacian list. And honestly, the Luke Metal Zacian lists are pretty close as well. Mike is playing 3 Pokegear and a Tag Call, and he is playing a Tool Scrapper, and no Coating Metal Energy. But like I said, a lot of these lists are going to be pretty similar. I just wanted to give everybody a chance that's doing really well to show off their lists. So some of these lists will probably go through quicker than others, depending on how many unique attributes they have. Next, we've got Dan at rank 18 in North America with 117 tournament rep, and Dan, aka Count the Money over on Twitter, or J2 the Rock on PTCGO, is piloting Centiskorch VMAX with the Scoop Up Nets using Bird Keeper, whereas Alex Schemanske up at number 1 has been using Malolana. I think they both have their pros and cons. Obviously, Bird Keeper allows you to draw cards while you switch, and Malolana heals you. Now, that heal can be very detrimental to Pikarom, because if they tandem shock you for 160 and paralyze you, you get out of the paralysis and heal almost all the damage they just did. But Bird Keeper can draw you cards when you're in a pinch, so they both have pros and cons. I do think the Malolana is really, really good versus Pikarom, but the Bird Keeper is better in the slot in most other cases, I imagine. Next, we've got Pat's Our Best 6. Shouts out to Teja or Teja. I am not sure how to pronounce their first name, but they're also a patron of mine over at patreon.com/Celio's Network. So special shout out for that. They are rank 14 in NA with tournament rep 122 with a pretty vanilla ADP Z list. People have been kind of preferencing between Vitality Band to do extra damage to knock out Reshizards and Mewtwo, or 2 Big Charms to have extra HP on your ADP versus Scorch and Eternatus. This list here is double Vitality Band for a little bit of extra aggression, and we've got the 4 Zacian that I love to see. Only 3 energy switch, I prefer 4, but everything else about the list looks really solid. Next, we've got Evan Smith at rank 21 in North America with 116 tournament rep. Luke Metal Zacian again, and no Pokegears here, but we do have the 4 Crushing Hammers that are the bane of every standard format player's existence. So shouts out, Evan. It looks like you've been getting head coin flips on those Crushing Hammers to get yourself to rank 21 with this Luke Metal Zacian list. Next, we've got my boy Alex Garcia, aka Shiny Audino, aka the guy with 2 hats at rank 22 in North America with 114 tournament rep. And he's been rocking Eternatus VMAX, a pretty vanilla, consistent build. But wait, he threw in 4 Crushing Hammer because why not? So Eternatus VMAX, very straightforward list, but you throw in the 4 Crushing Hammers because flipping heads on Crushing Hammer is just so impactful in the speed of this current standard format. Why not just throw some in? I'm not sure if it's optimal, but it's doing Alex some good here. He's got 114 rep with it. Moving on to Europe, this is the first week I'll be covering the other regions, not just North America. We've got Aceunojoint at rank number 1 in Europe. I've been waiting for that one. Tournament rep 134 with ADP Zacian. A bit of an unconventional list, possibly not even unconventional, but just more unique. It does have the 1 Leon to go over that 260 hump to knock out Mewtwo's and to knock out Reshizards. It does only have 3 Zacian, which, you know, my rule, we gotta have the 4 Zacian. But other than that, it's a pretty solid list. 3 Zacian, 3 energy switch. Would I like to see 4 of each of those cards? Yes, but it's gotten Aceuno to rank numero 1 in Europe, so shouts out to them. Great job. Next, we've got Julius Brunfeldt at rank 5 in Europe with 125 rep, rocking Pikarom with that double Yell Grunt that we've been seeing pop up in the past 2 weeks or so. 4 Crushing Hammer, double Yell Grunt. Really great against Eternatus. If you do hit a Hammerhead and you hit a Yell Grunt, you really set them back, and you can just take over the game from there, which is why this variant has been doing so well, because Eternatus is a huge threat, and in a vacuum, it's such an overpowered, ridiculous card. So having extra cards in your deck to help beat Eternatus when that's a shaky matchup is fine by me. We've got David, and I'm not going to pronounce the last name because I'm sure I will butcher it, but their IGN is Jeppy98, and they are ranked 7 in Europe with 119 tournament rep, and they have been playing Poison Eternatus with a Sableye V. Other than that, the list is looking pretty plain, with the 5 special energy, 5 basic energy. Not a ton of things are playing Giratina these days, just the Scorch VMAX lists pretty much. So without a lot of Giratinas floating around and things like Inteleon VMAX decks being popular, I think the 5 special energies are quite fine. I do think this variant of the list sacrifices some consistency since it only has 3 Professor's Research and 3 Boss's Orders instead of running 4 of all of the supporters. But Jeppy has gotten 119 tournament rep and placed in the top 7 of Europe with this Poison Eternatus list. Next, we've got Darkmot that is ranked 10 in Europe, and this list, I like the story behind this list. So Darkmot did their first 40 keys, or their first 35 keys, I believe, with with ADPZ. Let me get this story straight. They did their first 35 keys with ADPZ and felt pretty safe about getting the Players Cup 3 qualification. So they did 15 of their last keys with this Decidueye Inteleon list that is actually their exact list from the Sword and Shield on Tablemon events. And they got 40-something rep in 15 keys with this Decidueye Inteleon list. So pretty cool. And like all of these decks, if you want to take this list for a spin, it will be in the spreadsheet links in the description down below. Next, we've got Brent at rank 11 in Europe with 113 tournament rep with some more eternatus and crushing hammers. Also running the double absol to really boost up your opponent's retreat and annoy them, and 2 dangerous drills. So this is kind of like a disruption-based straight eternatus almost. No reset stamp and no power plant, but that's kind of a sacrifice you have when you're adding things like absol and crushing hammer and dangerous drill. We've got Francesco at number 14 in Europe with 108 tournament rep, piloting ADP Zacian for his keys. We've got the double big charm and no damage boost like we've seen some decks having the Leon and the Vitality Band. This list does have the second Mawile GX, which is fairly good against Decigoons, but also a solid card outside of that matchup, whereas Aegislash-V, I think I've talked about in last week's video. Aegislash is a straight Decigoons tech and then not very good outside of it. We've got Zapdos TCG here at rank 17 Europe, Joshua, and I'm not saying the last name because Joshua, you got a long last name, but congrats on rank 17 in Europe with 106 tournament rep. Rockin' Blounds, of course. Joshua's the Blound man. You couldn't have expected him to be playing anything else, but what I didn't expect was 2 Beastringer in this list. Joshua's the madman playing double Beastbringer in the Blacephalon list. Other than that, pretty simple looking list, but 2 Beastbringer, really crazy looking. It's worked out for Zapdos TCG to get 106 tournament rep. Next, we've got Ricardo at rank 24 in with 103 tournament rep with another ADP Z list. This one playing 3 Zacian, 1 Aegislash, 1 Mawile, the Aegislash for the Decigoons counter, of course, and also has 4 Crushing Hammer in the list. I'm not personally a fan of ADP Z with hammers, but like I've been saying for a lot of these, and like I said last week for a lot of lists, if they're getting all this tournament rep with it, there's some merit behind it. So congrats to Ricardo for getting 103 tournament rep with ADPZ crushing hammers. Although it's not my preferred style of ADPZ, it's worked out for this person. And Jared Bailey at rank number 25 with 103 tournament rep in Europe with Eternatus VMAX, and it's looking pretty... Wait, what is that? We've got a 4-1-1 line of Galarian Obstagoon in this Eternatus VMAX list. So at any point, if you were able to evolve a Galarian Linoon on the previous turn or any of the turns prior, you can just slap down a Galarian Obstagoon for an extra 30 damage on the board, and it can also attack into a Decidueye since it's not a V or GX Pokemon. For some flavor, Jared also has 4 Crushing Hammer in the list. You might be seeing a theme. There's a lot of Crushing Hammers this week. Next, we've got Kayum, and this is the first one in Latin America. Rank number 1, 146 tournament rep, and at the time of recording this video, I believe Kayum is ranked number 3 worldwide, with the same Pika-ROM list that I featured from Zach Cooper last week. Double Yell Grunt, 4 hammers, balloons, tag switch, no big charm. I do like the big charm, but the double Yell Grunt, 4 hammers has been working for a lot of people. We've got Fingerketchum at rank 8 in Latin America with 114 tournament rep. This time, it's another straight Eternatus, but no hammers, and we got the power plants going on. Now, I do really love the combination of Reset Stamp and Power Plant, but the Power Plant is actually pretty strong versus Pika-ROM decks now, because the Pika-ROM decks like to attack with Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team to have extra HP, and Power Plants can disrupt that. Also playing the Dangerous Drills to remove some big charms against ADP and Pika-ROM and the like. We've got Leandro at rank 14 in Latin America with 101 tournament rep. Again, the double Yell Grunt, 4 Crushing Hammer, Pika. I think this is becoming kind of the new standard of Pika-ROM now. The double Yell Grunt, 4 Crushing Hammer to face off fairly well versus Eternatus. If you can hit a Hammerheads and a Yell Grunt in the same turns, you're sitting very pretty in that matchup. Over on to Oceania, we've got Jimmy at rank 3 with 87 tournament rep. Now, Oceania is a smaller region, so you'll notice the tournament rep earned to make it up into the higher ranks in Oceania is a little bit lower, but I do want to point out that these players are playing in the same qualifying queues as everyone else. Oceania, Latin America, Europe, and North America all go into the same qualifying events. So you might be in North America, but you could play against someone from Latin America, Europe, and Oceania all in the same 8-man qualifier event. So Jimmy has been playing, when he messaged me, he said, I don't know if you call it Chrycephalon or Temposard or Blacephalon or what, but this is what I've been playing. And honestly, I don't know what y'all are calling it either. I just put it in the spreadsheet as a Blacephalon. But I think we've seen this list or something similar to it before. Congrats to Jimmy for racking up 87 tournament rep with it. And I believe last but not least is Luke Schmitt, rank number 8, tournament rep 75 with Pika-Rom Crushing Hammers, but no Yell Grunt. This list is 2 cards off of my list from my optimal Pika-Rom video and the one that I've been playing for my Players Cup run, except Luke has included a Great Catcher and also changed the energy count from 10 and 3 to 11 and 2, looking like a pretty smooth list. That's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and a special thanks to all of the players featured in this video that messaged me with their deck lists and wanted to be featured and a part of this video. It really brings me great pleasure to put something like this together that's a passion project to feature players from all over the world in this time of being in an online only playing and competing era of the Pokemon trading card game. So I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for daily Pokemon TCG content and check out PotownStore.com, the best place for you to get PTCGO codes. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.